What's going on, everybody? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson with another installment of the Hall of Game podcast. I know it's a little late, but we're gonna go ahead on and bring this knowledge tonight, anyways. Thankful for all the brothers that have been. Hold on a second. Thank you for. Wait, I'm echoing. So we have a really good panel tonight. I didn't think we was gonna get really anybody besides Brother Oga TV, but who's a Nigerian American, is doing some great things over in Africa and also in the Los Angeles area. But we ended up getting Brother Emile, Brother Sani, Brother Gabe, and the question is, will doing business in Africa help Black men gain more power? And when I'm saying Black men, we're referring to primarily African American men or other people in the diaspora who have never been to Africa. So we're talking about the person who maybe has been to Africa one time or never been to Africa before, and only you've heard about what's going on in Africa and the opportunities, but you really don't know. Hey, Naima, thank you for the money, boo. All right, so you're trying to look cute for me. So, anyways, let's go ahead on and introduce the panel. We start with brother Gabe A, who produces most of the content on the hall. Go ahead, brother Gabe. Let them know what's up with you, brother.
Hey, what's good, everybody? Gabe Bay here on YouTube. Just happy to be here and get some game. I work as a consultant in cybersecurity and engineering. And I'm just a brother, upperly mobile brother here to just try to give back some game to the listeners and really contribute to the conversation. So, all right, I'll talk to everybody as we go on.
All right, and brother, and again, thank you for making me to stick with the hall, because I'm trying to be here every night now. But at first I was playing. So y'all can thank Gabe for that, because if he wouldn't have stayed on me, it'd have been a once a week show. But let's go ahead to brother Hassani Ali. Go ahead, brother. Let him know what's up.
Hassani Ali from the D, your men's motivational coach, blogger, speaker, and advocate. Check me out on Coach Ali's Corner over on YouTube. And I won't be on too long, but I'll drop a couple gems and then I'll be on my way.
All right. Again, thank you, brother, for coming on. Always a pleasure. Brother Emile, go ahead on and let them know what's up, player.
What's going on? It's Emile. I have a channel that talks about Black male empowerment through strengthening your mental, physical, spiritual, and financial side of life. So make sure you guys subscribe, and I'm looking forward to the conversation. I appreciate you for having me, and let's get it.
All right. And last but definitely not least, our brother KC out of the Los Angeles area. He's known as Oga TV. But go ahead and let them know what's up, brother.
Hey everybody, I'm Casey. Run a security company that focuses on cannabis security. We provide guards and alarms based out of SoCal, Riverside area to be exact. I'm just here to talk about the topic, Africa.
All right, and let me start this off with you, because you have the most experience. I'm currently in Africa now, but obviously you have a more of a detailed operation than what I have. I'm just doing what I've been doing from here and trying to expand into certain things. But obviously you're a Nigerian American. When did your parents first come to the United States?
They came here in the 80s. So
Okay.
I believe Reagan, through that legislation, they got over here and they got their citizenship. So.
Okay. So, but you were you were born in Nigeria or born in California?
I was born in SoCal. I was born in Orange County.
Born in Orange County. Okay.
89. Yeah, I'm 31. So.
All right. And shout out to brother Low Key. We'll go ahead and what about brother Falcon Black? So let me ask you this. Shout out to brother Low Key. We'll answer that in a minute. Now obviously you've grown up on the West Coast, similar to me. But the difference between me and you is I'm an African American, right? And we come from West Africa, just like you descend. But for the average African American that doesn't know what's going on in Africa or don't have connections like your parents or stuff like that, what is the opportunities on the continent? Or like I said, your parents are from Nigeria, I believe. What are the opportunities that what African Americans are being taught about what Africa is like, and then what is the opportunities in Africa for Black men that have never been?
Well, as far as what I know, So I've been basically doing business in Africa for the last about year and a half. So that includes as far as shipping the equipment that I plan to start with. So this last December, I shipped a truck as well as a block machine and a concrete batching plant. So as far as what businesses are available, construction is really big out in Africa, everywhere in Africa. So every sector of construction, from like plumbing to framing to concrete works to iron, all different inputs. So when it comes to what type of business opportunities are available for Black men in America, in Africa, you could choose from a wide range of stuff. So I chose construction, but a lot of other people are doing stuff like agriculture and a lot of stuff with more artsy things. So like this whole blogging is really big right now. People are making a lot of money off of just basically marketing Africa and places to go. So.
Okay, all right. Shout out to my brother Ernest Turner and my assistant pastor Ted Randolph out in Canada from Ghana, right? By way of Ghana, an engineering brother. Ernest Turner. As soon as I saw the live notification, I knew I missed an email. Give him hell. I'm gonna send you the email right now, brother. If you'd like to come on, I can't forget you. But let me ask you this, right? Because obviously, when you hear about African Americans traveling and things like this, right? And me and because we had a little bit of a debate. Obviously there tends to be some tension between Africans in America and then African Americans, although it doesn't seem like it's so much where people come to blows or anything about it. But there is some issues. Do you think that might play a role as into why like a lot of African American men or African Americans in general are not interested in going to Africa just to visit or do other things?
Not really, to be honest. I think the biggest factor why African Americans aren't really taking part in African business is because it's very expensive to start. So in order to even start doing business in Africa, there's a whole lot of hurdles and financial issues that you got to overcome before you can even be comfortable. So it makes sense why not a lot of black men should think that it would be easier to start businesses here. It's probably just as hard to start over there, but
let me ask you this, right? Because you also run a great company that's in the Los Angeles area, and you're relatively young. Why not expand on that business? Like, what made you decide to take the risk to go to Africa to do something else when you're already doing very well in the States?
I actually thought of starting a security company in Africa, and I researched some of the companies that are there in Nigeria. There's one big one in particular called Halogen, and I basically met a couple of guards that work for them. And after finding out how much these guys make on average, a security guard makes like 27,000 naira a month, which is just under $100. So that's what they're paying the officers. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly how much they're charging, but it can't be that much more. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So America, you can get away with charging clients anywhere from $30 to $50 an hour for a security officer. You could pay them like a livable wage. But out there, I didn't see it was worth it. So.
Okay. All right. So
hey, Oshie, I had a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So your business is it an American business where you do business back and forth with Africa, or is it an African-based business where you just have headquarters, like you're just here in America?
I'm an American too, so it's like I have a security company, a state licensed security company in the state of California. So we're a private patrol operator. We do alarms and cameras. So that's specifically American. So we operate on the West Coast, basically just Nevada, California, and Oregon. So as far as the African business, this is a brand new, fresh venture. I'm starting something that I can kind of pass on to my kids, something that I can I want to basically have assets outside of America that can produce some kind of revenue for me.
Wait, so is the African business, is it an American business? Like, is it based in America or is it based in Africa?
Purely African. So right now, I'm just basically buying equipment and sending it one by one. So like I said, I just got a few pieces of equipment in my truck. I just sent all that this December. So
okay, so that's incorporated. So that's incorporated in Africa.
Correct. Exactly. Yeah.
That's all. Yeah.
Okay. Let me do this, and shout out to brother Olga, right? And thank you, brother Ernest Turner again. Let's go to brother Emile, right? I know brother Emile. I'm interested to see what he's going to say. Obviously we've been having these issues. Obviously with the Ahmaud Arbery, and then with George Floyd, and the protests. And brother Amin Ra, I don't know if you guys remember him, but Amin Ra, before he passed, I did a show with him, and he was an African American living in Kenya, and he was saying, "Listen, you're never going to get reparations. You're never going to get whatever they owe you in America. You're better off moving or trying to get established in Africa, where the opportunity is still ripe for you to do something here, where you can have full control and authority over what it is that you own." Brother Ramil, what do you think about Black men doing business in Africa, giving African American men more power and stuff like that?
Trash. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna just be real. You got to be a special type and a rare type of dude to go to Africa and start business in 2020. The reason being is this. Of course, we're gonna need our liaisons. This doesn't apply to all brothers. So people like O'Shea, even Field Advice. So we're gonna need a couple brothers on a worldwide front. But as far as like majority of brothers or critical mass, the focus still needs to be on America. I mean, I know you said about the police killings, but if you look at the statistics, that doesn't happen a lot. The media is conditioning people. Out of 53 million police encounters, only result in 1,000 deaths. That's 0.00001% of police encounters ending in death. So the media is conditioning people. Don't let them fool you. America is the place that has the most opportunities in the world currently, and Black people, specifically Black men, still haven't got their piece out of here. I'm not saying we shouldn't be expanding international, but first we need to conquer where we are at. I mean, we're not involved in any industries in this. It makes no sense that we're in the richest country in the world and we have not penetrated any industries. And it's not because of racism, it's because of our lack of drive. You look at the daily life practices of the average Black man, we're not doing shit. We're not being productive. We're just working and going home. So before we expand to Africa, which it does have infrastructure, but it's not like America yet. Before we expand, we had to at least conquer home base before we go to another country as a critical mass, notwithstanding the rare individuals who, we do have out in Africa. But for a critical mass, I think we had to take over what we have first. You can't jump the gun. I mean, we're leaving so much money on the table in America as Black men, giving out our talents for the free or for a low cost. I just think we got to, take over here first before we expand internationally. But that's where I'm at right now.
Okay. All right, that's always good. Let me go to brother Hassani, and then we will go to brother. Like I said, it's a good bill today, brother Ali. What are your impressions of Africa giving us more of an opportunity to do some different things, brother?
My sister-in-law is from Mali. My brother's wife has she's been in the States. She moved over here to go to Michigan State. And since I've known her, she's always tried to recruit my brother to start investing back over there in real estate. Her family does really well in that area. And just, ideally, it would be something for us to invest in. But again, like Brother Ramil said, is that a lot of us are still trying to get established here. And so before you can go international and do international business, learn the laws, to do things internationally, a lot of us are still trying to set foot and build a foundation here in America and basically, try to dominate the field that they're in. And so for a lot of us, we're still trying to basically get our roots stable here in the United States. And for the ones who are successful, they're content with their level of success and don't feel the need to go internationally. Africa is asking for the African Americans to come over and invest, but I think what needs to happen is we need to find the right incentive to get African Americans to start doing business over there internationally in masses. And so I think that's kind of where we need to take the first step if we're going to start investing and doing business over there.
Okay. Okay. Brother Black is Night. If you would love to come on, I would love. Oh shit! Thank you, Uncle Tony, for the $4.99. Shout out to you, brother. Black is Night. If you'd love to come on and talk about this. What up, brother George? Let's go to brother Gabe, right? Brother Gabe, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I think this is really interesting. So to give even a little bit more background about myself, very, very, very similar to the brother Oga TV. My father is from Nigeria. So I think both of your parents are from Nigeria, Oga TV. But my just my father and my parents met while and my mother is African American. And my parents met while they were in college in Michigan. So kind of with this whole thing, I think it's very interesting because I think that a lot of that push of should Black people go back to Africa or go to Africa to do business, I think it comes from a lot of individuals who kind of, as Emile has spoken to, it comes from a lot of individuals who haven't been successful in business in America. And I'm not saying that that's all encompassing, but it happens a lot of times. Like people aren't even successful in their business here, and they think that they're going to go on an entire continent with a whole different economic structure, completely different practices and ways of establishing business and conducting businesses, and think that they're going to go and just make a whole difference and a whole different change on the continent. And I think that that's just, it's premature. And I think it can really give people the wrong idea about what it means to start a business. And I think that one thing that I think that is important is that brothers, and I think some other panelists mentioned too, that brothers need to be successful in their business here first, in order before they expand, or even at least good at what you do. I mean, a lot of dudes aren't even good at their own, at their regular day-to-day jobs. They're basic and average at best. And then they're like, oh yeah, I'm about to just go ahead and go over to Africa and change everything. And it's like, no, you haven't even changed things in your own job, in your 9 to 5. So I think that, yes, that I think that it would give brothers more power. But I think that one thing that's important is that brothers have some sense of business in their current field, that they have some success record of business where they currently are before they choose to venture over into a whole different country and be average over there too, like they are here. Yep.
Wow. Okay, because I'm in the middle of what a lot of you brothers are saying. And again, I appreciate the diversity on the panel today, because it's not like, we all have the same exact talking point. But let me say this, there are YouTube channels, and I will say that most people that typically go back to Africa, that's African Americans, you see them hanging out in Ghana, and you see their experience. There's the one brother and his wife. I forgot what the name is. You guys probably can comment. And you have certain people that go to Africa, and I mean, it's almost apparent that number one, they're probably not as bright when it comes to having the fortitude to maintain a business, or those people are running from something like, well, the white man is holding me back in America. I can go to Africa, and the white men not going to be holding me back anymore. And we all know that Native Born, right? Yeah, Native Born is a very good channel. But you see people like that who, it's probably obvious to see that, in America, this is not like, they're not top 40 or 30% of African Americans. So we do know that. But what I will say is this, is that Africa is one of those things. It's two things that we would need to know, and Brother Ogle TV can attest to this. Africa is something that takes going to the continent, unless you're from there. From the African Americans' perspective, we don't have any family in Africa, right? So it's very difficult for us. But going to any country in Africa is going to require you to, number one, go to see if you like it. First time I came to Uganda was 2017. I've been here 8 times since then. And then it's going to require you, and if you decide that you like it, what is it that you need? And that's the situation, because Africa has to be something that's in your blood. It has to speak to you, right? It has to be something that you are passionate about, and it has to be something at some point that you're very interested in. And if you don't feel that way, it's not like you could just send $10,000 and then invest in the business in Africa. Africa doesn't work like that right now, okay? But I will say that being able to be on the continent, especially this last time, has really paid off for me in big ways. It took me 8 times, right? But we do need to understand that once you come and you're able to go back, whatever it is that you're looking to do can multiply here, whether that's earnings, whether that's more connections, whether that's connecting the diaspora back to the States, whether that's being able to give more opportunities to people here, more opportunities for yourself. Because the thing about it is, a lot of people, like Brother Olga said, are interested in knowing what's going on in the continent. You have investment authorities that are looking to work with people. You can get the word out. There's so much content that's not available that can be available, and there's a lot of opportunities that you just can't have in Africa than not in America. And I want to say this: what Brother Emile was saying. Brother Emile said a lot of brothers don't even have controlling the market share in America, and that's right. But the thing about it is, you can create your own market in Africa. And the thing about it is that when you're on the continent, you don't have to be, just think about this, right? Let's think about the person that was a Nigerian American and they lived in America trying to get into the Hollywood industry. And they would say something like, I know it's not the same thing he's saying, but I'm just giving you some of example. Well, I'm trying to break into the Hollywood industry in America. I should just wait till I get into America. But then somebody came up with Nollywood and then took that and went over to Nigeria and created Nollywood, and it became a $100 billion industry. Now, at the same time, we had talented African Americans that could direct. We had Spike Lee. You had John Singleton. You had all of these people that didn't want to take that opportunity. But what the people of Nigeria said is, we have the opportunity now. We can do this now, and we can have this industry. And that's the thing that African Americans are missing out on. We're missing the opportunity to work with a country or continent of people that you can be the number one person in the industry, or you can help create the industry. You can help maintain the industry. You can put things on it with the skill sets, and those opportunities don't come all the time. And that's the one thing that I think that that Africa, or countries in Africa, can give you that America can never give you. And that's something that we know, because look at the Chinese. You're here all the time. The Indians are here. Airtel, which is, if you guys have been to Uganda or Kenya, Airtel is one of the biggest phone companies. Now, the Indian population is less than 100,000. They own almost every country club in this country. They own almost every great restaurant in this country. Now, they have been coming here for years. And then Airtel, which is a company in India, is also very big in Kenya and Uganda. And that's because they have time invested here. So, when you want to go to the movies, you'll see Indian movies played from Bollywood over Ugandan local movies. And so what that tells me is they have an interest in doing things here, and that's why their wealth is able to accumulate. And I will just wonder, if African Americans had thought about this a long time ago, where could we be as a group of people? We could have solved a lot of our problems. So I think that if we don't get into something or somebody has to do it, then we're always going to have these problems like, well, we need to get into the industry in America first. We need to do this in America first. Meanwhile, everybody else is getting into things first, helping Africa build. Africa's helping itself. I know I'm being long-winded, but this is nothing we need to do. Africa allows us to work with brothers from the diaspora. That's a big industry in itself. And we have a chance to serve not only African Americans that are interested, but we can serve the rest of the people. And I think that that's something that we're missing out on, is a big opportunity, because we're missing out on, well, I don't know, if you talk about Nigeria, 200 million people, you're talking about the Congo, it's not even, 80 million people. We're talking about all these people that we can do something for, that the economy is growing at 8 or 9% every year, that we are totally cut off from, because we're still trying to make it in America. And we will never make it in America to where we should be, no matter what, because it's just never going to happen like that. You can get a piece of the industry on the continent. You could have the industry if you create it. So I don't know, anybody else?
See, really quick, O'Shea, because on that point, I think it's very important to also recognize the difference, because I think that, so in America, capitalism is pretty much the rule, right? It's like you just get further, you establish business, you get your money, you get to the top. That's what a lot of the motivations are. But I don't think that same motivation directly translates over into Africa, because this is a nation that has been oppressed, with a whole place, right? A whole continent that has been oppressed by external rule. I mean, just coming in there and saying, here, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to get what I need to get from this place, and I'm going to just establish myself and dominate, right? I don't think that's the right mentality to have from in a place where oppression and people taking has been the primary motivation. Like in where my father is from in Africa, from Nigeria, he's from Delta, right? And one thing that has ravaged Delta State is that oil companies, big oil companies, come and take the natural resources regularly and give nothing back to the villages, nothing back to the people. So I think that there are individuals, right? I think there might be opportunity definitely to do business there, but I think the motivation needs to change, and it doesn't need to be this thing about like, I'm gonna come and save Africa, I'm gonna come and change everything, and I'm gonna become the person. No, you have to think about the people on the ground, the people in the villages, producing something that will affect the whole nation in a positive direction, not just going there and getting something from it and establishing yourself. So I think that motivation needs to change, because I think a lot of people talk about capitalism, but you are talking about a nation of people who have been historically oppressed.
No, I 100%. That's why I said Africa has something that has to be in your blood, right? And you have to be able to, want to help the country develop and help yourself at the same time and helping people. It's no different than when I do now. I totally agree. So I don't have any problem with that. Anybody else want to weigh in?
Yeah, real quick. Also, you said that a lot of people come over and take advantage. That's true, but the people who do that, they have established, at their home base, they have some sort of power infrastructure established at their home base. Like I said, I think for the guy who has a special skill set, this could be like guys like you and Phil who have that skill set. As far even the critical mass, like I said, we don't have anything established in the home base. Those guys who go to Africa, they have home base infrastructure established already before they try to make the move. And then, I know you said, you would never have a piece of something in America like you can. I mean, you're gonna have more ownership still in America than in Africa, though, because Africa not only is a foreign, but like Gabe just said, it's also being infiltrated by external forces. So I mean, I mean, I believe you will have more control still in America. I said, I just think, man, we got the problems we got to fix here before a critical mass goes to Africa and starts dropping capital and resources. Because, like Gabe said, the motivation is different. But I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying it shouldn't be done now. I mean,
I see your point.
Yeah. But that's how I look at it currently.
Okay. No. Great points. Brother Ali, did you want to jump, or Brother Ali or Olga, whoever wants to?
Yeah, I actually have some experience with this. So, as far as infrastructure and all that here, but prior to going to Africa, I absolutely agreed. So before I would, suggest anybody go to Africa, I would make sure that you have everything settled here. Full disclosure, I have partners, so I can actually go and do things. But as far as setting up in Nigeria, for example, there's a lot of people who just go there. So there's people who go there with not much money at all, set up, and they're in business. As far as ownership, it's no different from here. Once you get past all the issues with land, you register it, it's yours, and you operate business forever. And there's nothing like property taxes or reoccurring fees. So once you set up a business like a brick and mortar, it's there forever, and you own it, and it's done. So I don't like the fact that people are discouraged to go to Africa because they think that it's an oppressed land. A lot of other people from other ethnicities are going there and making a lot of money. So I know a lot of Americans are going there, for example, and they're doing a lot of farming right now. Farming is huge. So these are the things that, like consumables in the country, those are a really big deal. Things that are actively being prohibited from being imported into the country. Those are huge. So people are making a lot of money importing stupid things like auto parts. So
for example, for sure.
You can go ahead and buy like a bunch of, for example, pulleys or a bunch of radiators or a bunch of AC condensers, and you can pack them in let's say for example, all used from a junkyard. In LA, you can get them for about $30 a piece. If you can take 100 of those, you can get at least double your money right away. So there's areas near the port in Nigeria that they buy things like that. So that's just one example. People start restaurants, people start construction companies, people start all different types of things. So it just depends on your passion. You actually have to want to be in Africa too. There's a lot of bullshit that comes with being in Africa that you don't have to deal with if you just decide to go somewhere else. but the rewards are so much greater. When you think about it, why would you want to invest in this country? I have a business here, and I'm basically trying to replicate what I have here in Africa. So my kids don't have to live the same life I lived here. I'm trying to create a system in which my children have an option. And when you think about it, the whole world is running towards Africa. What sense does it make to invest so much money in America, in a country that's obviously declining, when you can go somewhere else? It doesn't have to be Africa. You can go to the Caribbean islands. You can go to places in Europe. There's all different types of options. But as far as staying in America, just to build something that could happen, to chase a dream that's possible but not really attainable, I think it's better to go somewhere where you can make major change and with a whole lot less oversight. Another huge thing is doing business here. You have to hold. There's a lot of regulations with employees. So as far as employees, there's different types of taxes. So in California, we have three different types of taxes: IRS, there's the EDD, and there's also state local taxes. So in Nigeria, for example, none of that exists. There's a lot of benefits with relocating, and that's what I'm just basically investigating right now. So I'm in the beginning stages, but I feel like the future is in Africa. So it's best to go there, choose a city. For example, you can go to like Lagos. It's super metropolitan. You can go to I've been to Cape Town. It's really amazing there. Ghana, Accra is really, really nice. Those are just some places I've been to where if you wouldn't notice you're in Africa, you'll think you're in America. And the options for opportunity are endless. There's places where you'll go there and you'll say, I can do this better than you. But the only thing is they're going to say, come do it. They encourage you. So that's all I got to say.
Let me do this, brother Clay Pro. I know a guy that went to Nigeria, bought land for $10,000 next to a government building, made a 6-unit luxury building with cheap products for $60,000. He sold each unit for $300,000. Thank you, brother Clay Pro. Go ahead, brother. Guess something, brother Gabe, right?
Oh yeah, I don't want to take it, but I do have a question because I think Oga TV, you made a couple of comments that I have a little bit of pushback to, because you said that you don't like that people building businesses over in America. I want a clarification. You said that it's like a dream, or it could be a dream, or something as to that effect.
Well, for example, I currently we have about 60 employees. So you would think that with 60 employees, that's the ultimate achievement. I've had over 100 employees, and that was one of the worst times of my life. So it's crazy. There's an inverse kind of reaction when you ascend in America. The more money you make, the more you're taxed. And the IRS gets more and more vicious the more money you make. So, I mean, I'm sure you guys understand. You guys have been in an issue like I've been in, but I've been in a lot of tax issues. So I know that operating in America is not easy, and you have to cross your T's and dot your I's. So as far as
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I think that one thing that I think that you might be leaving out is that you had mentioned earlier that in order to start doing business in Africa, that you need a lot of capital, that Black men need to have some type of money, some type of capital in order to start business in Africa. But your business in America helped to fund your business that you're doing over in Africa. So, absolutely. I mean, you've been successful to a point where you are able to expand your business internationally from what you were able to establish here in America. And I think that that's the condition that a lot of us, that Emile and Asani was speaking of, is that as you're successful here, expanding further is really the goal at that point.
Yeah.
So you were able to establish something here, which is great and commendable. But I don't think that should just be negated for international business, because that allowed you to start your international business.
I agree, and to be honest, there's a lot of personal reasons why I want to do business in Africa. First off, I'm second generation Nigerian. I've been there every 3 years since I was a kid, so I have a love for the land, and I always saw myself as I can be as big shot as I want in America, but when you get to Africa, you're nothing. So that's why I always wanted to start a business to just to do something there as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, see, now I think we get into the bottom of it, because O'Shea's right. And just like you just said, you got to have some sort of connection. I don't want to call it emotional connection, but you got to have, if you really want to be passionate and gain power in Africa as an African American, I think there has to be some sort of drive and passion that actually has nothing to do with business. You just want to just see the African country excel and prosper. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I think that we should make that known, that if you don't have that in you, that's more of a reason not to do it. But if you do have it in you, by all means,
I agree.
you could be one of those liaisons because we do need liaisons at the end of the day.
Let me add to this also to the conversation, because in the case of I know we'll go back to Brother Ali. In the case of Falcon Black, Blackest Night, Olga TV, these brothers have direct descendants. They're, like I think Blackest Night's dad and Falcon Black's dad were chiefs, Yoruba chiefs, right? And Olga TV's father grew up there. So they have direct links there. Somebody like Emile and even Gabe, your father's, but Emile, Hassani, Gabe, he's still in the same with us because we don't really know anybody there, right? And that's another thing that makes it so much difficult for us, because the first time I came to Africa, it was 2017. If I wasn't living in Poland, and I don't think I would have ever made the trip. And that's another thing too for us is, we have the situation of where do you start? And it's not like a lot of Black people or Black men in general wouldn't want to look for opportunities in Africa because, I think Black men are open to any opportunity that can, be fit, what they're trying to do. But the problem for a lot of brothers is there's not a lot of good, transparent information. Now, the United States is very, bureaucratic. There's a lot of bureaucracy and stuff like that as far as the taxes and stuff like this. But you do know with America, when you make a deal, it's very transparent. Usually, it's very easy to get a bank account. It's very easy to start a business. In America, these things are so transparent and laid out. It's very easy. In dealing with Africa, it's we're going to be honest. There is a level of corruption that is there, and if you don't have people on the inside, like maybe a brother Olga TV might have access to, or brother Blackest Night may have access to, and when you don't know anybody, that becomes a real big hurdle, because at that point you're very, 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 very vulnerable. And once you get to, you spend $2,000 on your first ticket, and you go to Lagos, and you laying over in Amsterdam airport, and then you going, and then you don't know what the naira is. You're going to get naira on the black market and all this, and and then the power situation. It's a different whole lifestyle. So I can understand why a lot of Black men will say, for me, it's just easier to stay here. But what I will say is this, man, I've been here 8 times. What Brother Olga TV talked about, the upside, what you could pay a talented person on the continent and what you would pay some. Let's say if you got things rolling, right? Let's say, what if you get things rolling in any country in sub-Saharan Africa, automatically you are rich.
It's a wrap.
Not just, we're talking about super rich. Like, and people in Africa, once they get things rolling, we're not talking about a house loan anymore. We're not talking about a car loan anymore. Now you're talking about the bag, right? And I mean, I'm saying that as a person that is still looking to do things, whatever. You're talking about a person that isn't, you're completely autonomous, and America, for the most part, don't offer a lot of people that type of stuff, right? And that's the thing about it, because you do have health insurance you got to pay, you do have all those things. If you're an entrepreneur, there's no place in the world that you can be an entrepreneur better than here. I've been here for 4 months. I can tell you that right now.
O'Shea, let me tell you something that very interesting that you brought up. And I don't even think you noticed that you brought up. You mentioned a couple of brothers in the chat, and maybe Olga TV too. But your father being a chief, that is a business barrier that a lot of us have to go over in order to even do business over there.
Yes.
So there is privilege also on the continent. All right. Yes. Hey, let me just buzz it wide open, right? There is privilege. A lot of times, and I'm not saying this directed towards anybody, but my father comes from the dirt in Africa pretty much. He comes from Delta State. Listen, they walked everywhere. He got lucky and got a job with the local school as a typewriter, quote unquote, typewriter tech type of job. He just did the typewriting and wrote, right? And he was able to get a scholarship to come over to America. But a lot of these chiefs, princes, royal families, they send their children to the best education systems. They have money that back them from the nation, and that allows them those connections, those business incentives that ease of working on the continent that a lot of people, not only African Americans, but poor Nigerians and poor Africans don't even have access to. And that's another one of these barriers, right? You talk about just going over to the continent. You don't even know who the chief is in the place where you're doing business. If you don't bow to the chief, if you don't come to the chief and pretty much bow to him in order to do business in his place, you will have hurdles. You will have things that hold you back in order to be successful there. So people are ignorant of a lot of these things, but yet they so hype about doing business. You really had to understand the structure, because there is also not only privilege here, but there's privilege over there too.
Let me get to Brother Ali. That's great points. Brother Hassani, you want to weigh in on that?
You know, I'll say this, and I'll keep this really short, is that the one thing I know about us is that it will be hard for us to invest in Africa and not see a product of our investment. And so when it comes to traveling, and I've never been, but I'm assuming it's but a 10+ hour flight, for you to, go back and forth to Africa to check on your investment, watch it build from the ground up. I don't know if a lot of brothers are ready to make that commitment to spend a third of the year in Africa. Because, I mean, it's not like you could just do a turn and burn, go to Africa for the weekend and come back. But that's a lot of travel. So you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to, that's going to have to be a trip. You got to stay down there for, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And, if you're just an investor, or even if you were a business person, it's kind of like, could you live the double life of going back and forth between America and Africa in order to manage that business or manage that investment? Or would you be willing to give up your American lifestyle to be over there? And I think that's a lot of times that's what stop brothers from going over there, because it's like, I would love to invest, but my family's here. Or, I want to go to Africa and invest, but I don't have the connections to get there, and I don't even know where I'll be staying once I get over there. So, I know for a lot of us, if we're going to put money into something, we're going to want to see it grow. And I think that's kind of the challenge that a lot of investors would have is, where's my money going?
Right.
Because if you're being presented something on a screen, you can't verify that it's yours. Scams happen all the time. Right. And I'm not saying that it would happen, but there's a great possibility. Right here in Detroit, when people were buying homes for $500, people were just buying it up because it was cheap. But some people were lying about the property details of these homes. And, people from overseas were realizing that these houses were headaches. People were robbed, people were breaking into these homes, taking all the copper pipes and wiring. And, they bought an investment that they thought they could easily sit on and make the money from, but come to realize it's a headache. So long story short, for us folks, I know we like to see our investments. And so it's a matter of, are you going to take the sacrifice of traveling back and forth, or are you going to give up your life here in America to be over there? And I'll leave it at that.
Great point. Shout out to Brother Wrench. My transition from Brother Gabe for bringing sandals to the chief. Thank you, Brother Wrench. And guys, keep liking the video. And anybody else want to weigh in on what he said?
Yeah, I'll say as far as when it comes to some business in Africa, not everything has to be, not everything has to hold you to the ground. There's stuff you can do and make money really quickly. Like I said, there's a lot of trading you can do, a lot of stuff that you can sell that you can sell quickly. You can offload it pretty quickly and make the money back really quickly. See, Africa's a cash economy. Everything's cash. So if you can provide a luxury good, people will buy it. So I think it's to consider,
Let me also weigh in on that, because you guys know, like, I stumbled upon something when I brought my Niggatron. I have 2 of them, right? Falcon Black, he follows me on WhatsApp, so he knows I post crazy shit on WhatsApp that I don't post here. But the guy told me, he said, man, this PC that you brought on the continent is, you might have paid $3,500 to get it built, but that PC is $8,000 here. I said, whoa, really? He said, yeah. So then that kind of let me know, like, oh, well, shit, maybe You know, and he was telling me, yeah, man, Intel systems sell for a lot of money here. If you can get the parts here and stuff like that. And, you know, I wasn't, you know, I didn't know that. So he's like, well, you know, next time you come, you should bring, you know, some 2080 RTX cards and stuff like this. So, you know, because there is a little bit of issues here, you know, those things, having a passport and being able to go to Africa and come back and go. And there are people like, you know, that have, you know, certain companies and things like that, you know, import export stuff, you know, is huge in any country, especially Nigeria, stuff like that. So I think there remains opportunities for people who want them. And I think that if anything else, and all the points that Gabe make up, I can't, you know, I'm not going to try to argue against those because he's telling the truth. But I will say this. The question is, are we losing the opportunity? And I will tell you that from being here this time, stuck here this long, we're missing a great opportunity. Because the thing is that we live in a unilateral world in the United States, but you know you're talking about countries that had like 14 million people 30 years ago, and now they have 50 million people. And then economies that were terrible that are growing at 8 or 9% a year. And eventually, when Black America looks back at itself 30 years from now, a lot of people will be saying, you know what, I should have took the opportunity to do something then. It's kind of like, you know, when Amazon stock first went up. And you know, and when you had a chance to buy $1 a share, and you're like, man, if I would have knew that, or Bitcoin. I think this is, you know, if you're an investor, and obviously it's, Africa is a little bit risky, right? But if you're in an industry that you can kind of control certain things, I think we passing up stuff because at least even with our African brothers in the United States, we don't even, you know, try to work with certain people that have certain knowledge. So I think that a lot of us are missing a whole bunch of stuff. And the one thing that is the great equalizer is the internet, because now we have conversations with, I mean, if you look at Brother Ernest Emile, all the time, and he got a Nigerian passport, right? Nigerian citizenship just by starting a YouTube channel. And look at all the opportunities he's getting himself in. There's just a lot of opportunities now with the internet being the great equalizer that you can do things that you couldn't do before, or things can be quite quicker, you know, just off the internet, right? And I think that that's something that we're missing out on is, you know, now we have the way to do a podcast or to do a show, and we can reach out to certain people and get information that even before we get there, we can, you know, you can call down to the investment authority. You can do all kind of different things that you wouldn't be able to do before. And a lot of us, you know, we act like the internet doesn't help us. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of business in Africa is pretty much still done all in person, but there are opportunities. I'm telling you, there are opportunities. I'm here. And one of the things that we can do is when we do have our people in places, we can bring our people into those things and give knowledge and tell them the truth. But anybody want to weigh in on that?
Okay, so what in your opinion, what percentage of upwardly successful Black men, what percentage do you think should be taking advantage of the opportunity in Africa?
What percentage of okay? So define to me, like when you talk about upskill, like can you give me like is there a dollar amount on what they make? Or
let's say Black man making 80,000 or more. What percentage of Black men making 80,000 or more should be taking advantage of African opportunities?
I think it's a very good question. I think number one, those who have an interest, you know, those who have some sort of interest, because, you know, like I just, it will take some time, but those who have an interest in, because that's the first thing. Are you interested in the continent? Because the continent is not like, all right, I'm gonna send some money by Oga TV and give him $5,000, and, you know, I mean, you could do that with somebody you trust, but I wouldn't recommend it. I think if you have an interest, and then if there's something that you want to build over time, I think that's something that you can be open to, because it's not for everybody, right? That's the one thing that we do want to point out. Ramil is right. It's not for everybody. But I think for one, the person who has an interest and the person who thinks that they can gain more connections and opportunities in what they're doing now that can be expanded into something greater, and using their skill set now that can go there and continuing on what they're already doing. I would say whatever that percentage is, it could be 10%, it could be 5%, it could be 20%. It just depends, because like I said, it's not for everybody. For most brothers, I don't think that it's for. But I think it are for those people who definitely have an interest. You have an interest in being a Pan African. You have a difference in your interest in all of that. I think it's a good look.
Cool.
I kind of think it should be more of like a hybrid model, right? I think like brothers like Olga TV, as he establishes his business, and I'm not saying that you need to do this, but I think that this would possibly be successful, is that as you establish your business, bringing on African Americans and individuals who are investors, who are African American, who desire to help and work to expand your business, right? And that would, right, kind of towards what Emile was saying, bringing in more African Americans into a business. So rather than brothers just literally just going over there and trying to just shake things up, rather I think that it probably would be better if there was an established business of one like Olga TV's that brought in African Americans to be able to experience and to be able to learn what it is like to do business on the continent, or even O'Shea's business, right? As O'Shea is expanding more and more on the continent, hey, let me bring in some African Americans so they can really understand what this business is like, so that more individuals can start to invest. So I think that hybrid model would be something that would be an easier transition for upperly mobile brothers to be able to invest in the continent.
I believe that is. Let me just say this real quick. I believe that is what should happen, because for us, we just don't know how things work, and every country is different. Now, obviously, in Kenya, Uganda, and East African community, 100,000 for certain investments is pretty much to go. But Uganda is very much different than Kenya in many ways, and Tanzania is very much different than the both countries. And Nigeria is altogether different, than East Africa or Ghana. So I think what you're saying is the truth. I think that as Black men that are on the continent or wherever we are, I think the more information that we have out there, and the more information that is shared, it makes it easier for people to at least have a look at it to see if there's something that's feasible. But for right now, I think that the information is not really there, right? Like, and it's hard to make a decision when you don't really know. Let me just ask this question for Brother William Green. Thank you for the super chat. The economic growth potential is crazy. The question is, who is going to benefit off that growth? Will Africa as whole just be a piggy bank for China? Thank you, brother. I think so. Anybody else want to weigh in on it? Brother Ali or Olga?
You talking about the super chat or the actual?
Anything.
That super chat's a good point. Who is going to benefit off the growth? We take our talents over there. China is over there deep. It's with I know you said everything should be mutually beneficial. But, there's a long-term thought aspect on this too. We give our talents up. Who will benefit more? Will we benefit more? Will Africa benefit more? And if they do benefit, are they going to toss you to the side after they benefit off your talents? I think that's might be a valid concern too. You go over there, you build something, they say, okay, thank you, take it over because it's their country, and kick you out. That is, maybe I'm over exaggerating, because I don't know how the structure works, but is that a possibility? You go over there and lend your talents, and they say, okay, fuck you, nigga, and then kick you out.
I've never heard that as Idi Amin, but let me read the super chat, because Rent's trying to bring a good point. All jokes aside, what are the odds of the Chinese undercutting your business? They have the labor and infrastructure to pull the rug from beneath the brothers.
That's what I'm saying. Is that possible? Like, since you have no power, because you go over there, you are like kind of like a lone wolf. So it's not like you're an American citizen. You got the legal system behind you. It's a little different as a foreigner. Is that something to worry about? Should we worry about getting undercut, or just straight up getting robbed?
Olga TV, have you noticed any, I guess, Chinese or any, I guess, what are some of the challenges, right? Because I think that's what we're kind of on right now. What are some of the challenges that you've noticed in your African business as you've been getting it off the ground? Has it been the Chinese? Has it been the locals? Kind of, yeah.
Mainly, there's locals. You know what I mean? There's a vast majority of locals that are there doing big business. So as far as the Chinese, they're undercutting. That's absolutely true. But when it comes to certain types of industries, certain types of businesses, like I said, it's all cash. You know what I mean? It's definitely a buyer's market there, or a seller's market there for certain things. So, I mean, when it comes to real estate, for example, You can make a lot of money in real estate in Africa right now. There's a lot of money to be made, especially if you have the infrastructure. So it would take, like O'Shea said earlier, a love for Africa to really want to be there. Because if you don't want to be there in the first place, you're not going to enjoy the money you're making there, and you're not going to want to spend it there. And there's all kinds of hurdles you're going to have with that. So this whole Africa move is for people who are I say on the riskier side of investors who have some type of connection to Africa. But as far as the undercutting, it's true. Chinese people are there, but so are the Persians. So are like the Lebanese, and so
Yeah,
are Russians are there too. There's Africa's a really big place, and there's a lot of services that are needed, but there aren't enough services being provided. So you could just pick something. I know Gabe, you specialize in IT, right?
Yeah, cybersecurity and
I mean,
engineering. Yep.
as far as connections, it's true. But once you crack that, that whole connection issue, and somebody like O'Shea, I'm sure can connect you to a whole lot of people in Africa. You can make millions and millions of dollars, dealing with the bigger corporations. It just takes effort. It takes a willingness to be there, and it takes a real businessman. So I don't want to invest in Africa for a quick buck, or to just waste my time or get ripped off. I'm trying to basically create something that I can rely on in the future. So 20 years from now,
Right.
I want to be able to already have the infrastructure necessary to build whatever I want to build. That's what I want to do. So that's a seed I have to sow now. So it's true. I've been ripped off at the port when I was importing my stuff. They collected several fees for me that they weren't supposed to collect, and it was almost triple what I was supposed to pay to clear the stuff that I cleared.
Wow.
So, there's a lot of issues, but it's funny. Once I cleared that same stuff, I could immediately, people were asking me to buy it immediately. So I wasn't even I'm not interested in selling the stuff that I bought, but it was really interesting to see that, hey, I cleared this stuff. And, even though I paid 3 times the price of the customs clearance, I can still make almost triple the price that I paid for this equipment from China.
Wow.
So I knew right there, oh my gosh, this is a business in itself. You won't understand the opportunity until you go there. So Ramil, you're real smart. I think that, one day, if you take a trip to one of these top 10 African cities, one of the top 10, those top 10,
I'm gonna take a trip one day. I'm gonna go one day.
you will be so impressed, and you'll something will click in your head. It'll say to you, what the hell have I been doing back in America? People don't like you in America. It's the truth. We're all black men here, and we get discriminated against every day.
Yep.
So, once you blend in and really, just vibe with the locals and understand what it feels like to be a first-class citizen, you won't understand what it means to go to Africa. Once you go to Africa, you'll see something that you can do. Well, that's what I have to say. So unless you take a trip there and actually just, explore, and I would definitely suggest you go to a top 10 city. Don't go to some village. Don't go to some area where you got to, fetch your own water. Go to somewhere where it's top 10, somewhere like, for example, you can go to Ghana. Ghana is an amazing place. You go to Accra, you go to East Legon, Airport Hills. If you're in Lagos, in Nigeria, you can go to Victoria Island. You can go to Lekki. Those places, you'll feel like you're in the best parts of Los Angeles. So once you kind of understand what it is to be there and to be free amongst Black people, to be the majority, you're really not gonna see the benefit of even doing business there. But once you take that step, you'll see, oh my goodness, this is it. This is the place for me. And there's so many opportunities available. So to say I can't go to Africa because I haven't even got shit cracking back here in America, it's a fool's bet. I can tell you from somebody who does business here and does business there, it's much better over there once you've made it.
Let me go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's all about once you've made it. So when you're talking after the fact, people that are in Africa that are rich live much better than Americans that are rich. That's a fact.
Oh yeah. Oh no doubt about it. I see it at least once or twice a week. Let me just say this, right? Let me just put welcome, brother Olga. So, okay, Wrench Turner made a comment about the Chinese, right? And let me just say this: what the Chinese are coming in to do usually, now they do have their petty things too. They do have restaurants, but the Chinese are really big on the infrastructure. They build the roads and things like this. But a lot of countries, even with the development of China, many African countries are known for what? Agriculture based, right? There's only a few countries in Africa that are what you would consider service based driven countries. South Africa, for one. All right. And we did a show about service versus sales. If you look at what African Americans are bringing to the table, African Americans are not, trying to bring the same construction job that China can do, because that's not our strength. But what African Americans can do is we are really good at the service industry shit when it comes to possibly mechanics or customer service or tech, healthcare, and things like that. This is what separates a first world country from a third world country. If you think about it, it's really the service industry, right? The countries that have the best service industries are what you consider in the EU's, the banking, very big countries that you can do investments in, stock portfolios. You get these in service-driven economies. That's where the continent is trying to go, and it just so happens that because African Americans are from that society, we don't deal in big infrastructure, right? But the money is not really all the time in that. It's that we have service skills. For example, what I do. And if you want to call social media content, it's a part of manufacturing that goes, you have the levels of going through Adobe Premiere and all of that stuff, right? But what we're able to do is before the COVID came, I was able to walk in to the Uganda Tourism Board and say, hey, we want to work with you. We're not going to charge you any money. We want to promote the tourism of Uganda to the rest of the Black diaspora. Just give us a shot. We're not going to charge you anything. The lady went right to her office, got us a USB with like 50 or 60 pre-made commercials that they ran, and then we ran it one time for them on the Kingana channel. But it just so happened that COVID came right after that. So you can do that in almost any African country, and then get in with the government eventually and do that stuff, right? Because now I'm able to create content for you. I'm able to get it posted for you. I'm able to put you in people's faces all the time. That's a service. And service is what gets people rich a lot of times in these countries. And we get intimidated by, the Chinese or whatever. But think about it. The Chinese people, even when they have restaurants, are they really good at the service? No. That's not what they're known for. African Americans understand service relationships and understand how to deliver this to customers and how to deliver this to clients and how to train others how to do that, because we understand this is where we come from. We understand how important service industries are, and that's our strength. We understand how to keep certain levels. I'm not going I got to be real, because on the continent niggas be late, right? We understand how to keep time. We come from that culture. So when we look at countries like Uganda and Kenya and countries that are suffering in Tanzania, these countries are doing much worse in the service industries. How many services can they offer to, number one, their own people, number two, people outside of the continent, and what service industries do they offer to neighboring countries? If you even look at Kenya, they're so dominant, their service industries, the banks are in Uganda, right? A lot of Kenyan products come to Uganda. Their institutions are in the country because they're much better at being an effective service industry than those countries are. Uganda beats them in agriculture in certain ways, but when it comes to the service industry sector, that's where we thrive, and we should look to get into those things that we were good at. We don't have to come in and be the Chinese and build roads that's what we don't even need to worry about that. What we have the experience is we can increase the capacity of the service industries wherever we go. That's where our strengths are at, and that's how we should look at it. We shouldn't look at it like, I got to build a hotel from scratch. So don't worry about that. We can build systems for those people. We can build selling programs. We can train employees. All of those things we increase. We've been doing it for the white man all these years. So we got to start looking at the service industries, how we can make the country, work better in what we're doing. That's our strength. Go ahead. Anybody want to talk about that?
I mean, yeah, I definitely agree with you. I mean, I just we do got to play with our strength, I guess. But I guess my question got kind of missed. I mean, do you have to worry about these people strong arming you. Let me just put it like that. Do you have to worry about being strong armed in a foreign country? You start something successful. Like you say, you talk about corruption all the time over there. Do you have to worry about being strong armed of something that you built over there that becomes successful?
I don't think that's the problem, but obviously, and I will be honest, and Brother Olga can tell you, you do got to pay to play, right? Like that's what goes on.
Yeah,
You
there's always somebody in charge in everything, in every industry. There's somebody that you're going to be rubbing, stepping on their toes. So
pay to play.
you got to pay to play, but you got to. I would say consider it a tax, a much cheaper tax than an American tax that you would pay. And once you pay those types of things, you make friends. That's how you kind of rise the ranks and meet new people as well. Somebody that's taxing you has some type of authority over you. If you have a relationship with that person, it's going to be beneficial for you.
Right.
So paying to play will prevent strong arm type stuff.
That's how it is everywhere else in the world. You got to pay.
You're right. I just wanted to just clarify. That's all.
So is this a one-time expense to pay to play, or is this something?
Hell no. I mean, you know what I mean? You're gonna be ongoing, but here's the thing: if you have a business that's employing people, obviously they're not trying to come in and repeat the whole business that you're already doing. It don't make no sense for them to waste your time doing that. Okay, you can come into the market, employ the people, but you're gonna pay us too. That's what's better for them, because they ain't got time to be doing all that type of shit. Like that's what I'm seeing. But you are going to have to pay to play. I mean, that's what you got to do. Like that's big here. You're gonna pay to play. You're gonna rub palms. You're gonna grease niggas up. That's just what you got to do.
What people want, it's not what you think. You're thinking like a few $100s. Like a few $100s to Africans, it's a lot of money. A few $1,000s, you're talking like top tier, top level, bribes. That's based on what you're doing. But nobody's going to be, ridiculous. So it's not something that's going to be overwhelming, something you can't control. You can control it, but there will be bribes.
Right. Yeah. So that does go on. Brother Asani, you wanted to say anything, brother? Or?
Nope. I'm just fly on the wall on this one. I'm just kind of soaking up the game and see if it's something I can actually find some interest in.
Let me just say this. In like Africa, in any I've only really in Uganda, I've been here obviously 8 different times, right? And what I noticed is that other groups bring their people onto the continent. So many of us as African Americans, one of our downfalls would be we are very individualistic people. So let's say, for example, when Nigerians come to America or Indians come to America, one of the things I like about them is they're at least when it was easier, they would be bringing their people over to the United States. They have a business set up. They're helping their people do that. The thing about African Americans is that our families are usually, what I've noticed, African families are a little bit are much bigger, and there's a lot more between cousins and things like that. There's a lot more of a relationship that happens between these people. African Americans, we have very small families in comparisons to like Indians or Africans that come to America. And so typically when we want to bring our people over, we're not bringing, it might be one brother, like Nigerians be having like 8 or 9 brothers or something like sometimes, right? At least they did in the 90s. And the thing about it is that, when African Americans come over to the continent, and we might want to tell people to come over. A lot of our friends, number one, are already interested. That makes it hard. So you can come to Africa and make millions of dollars. And a lot of people in the Black community are just not interested because they would rather make it in Oakland, right? Or they'd rather struggle in New York City than to go do something in Africa. Some of our people would don't even want to go to North Dakota for a better job. They'd rather be in Oakland or Frisco or LA. So that's something that we also got to talk about. And when we do have people that are on the continent, a lot of times it's hard to bring your friends into what's that you have going on. That's good because a lot of people are just not interested. So that's the difference. We for those people who are interested, we have to start bringing our people into the systems. That's what I see the Indians have done here. For many years, they come in, the Indians run pretty much the service sector here. Also, they have a lot of, they got Diamond Trust Bank, they have Airtel, and then they bring their people from India to come in. They plug and chug them into these businesses already. An Indian will come in and have a restaurant, like even Cafe Java's. That's one of the biggest restaurant chains in Uganda. And in Java's houses. And then what you will see is they will go and get talent from India and come in, and those guys will run the restaurant and they will run the employees. And if African Americans could ever even get to that point where we have even one successful business in Nigeria or one successful service industry where we can plug and chug African Americans into that equation, then if you can do that over a period of years, then all of a sudden you become a little bit more valuable, right? And that's one thing that we can do, even in the music industry. Like one of the things I want to do in Uganda is set up the first mixtape market that exists from Uganda through Kenya to Tanzania. It's never been established like it is in like the New York City mixtape market or the Philadelphia big mixtape markets where everybody knows what's going on the streets of the streets. It's things like that don't exist, but it could do very well. So I think that if African Americans could get even one good thing rolling, like you see in Ghana, I think Ghana is a great example of what you can do as far as African Americans once you get the ball rolling. And a lot of African Americans in Ghana are starting to do better, and the country starting to have respect for what African Americans are doing in Ghana. I mean, they broke that $1 billion in tourism supposedly. That's because African Americans in Ghana, who have been going there for years, been bringing their people over there, right? That's why African Americans get so much respect in Ghana. And I think that method is what every other group does. The Lebanese, especially in the Francophone countries, the Burkina Fasos and the Senegals and the Ivory Coast. The Lebanese run a lot of the chocolate factories and make a lot of money. What are they doing? They're just bringing their people from Lebanese over to Ivory Coast, and they're setting up things, and they're doing the same thing. So African Americans would have to have that same mentality as a group to do that. We wouldn't be able to just come over just like, oh, okay, I'm here and that's it. No, you have to be able to come and form a community within the Ghanaian region. I mean, like Ghana is a great example of what African Americans can do in Africa. That's the perfect example. I mean, that whole African American 400 years return of that if African Americans wasn't in Ghana, that would never have happened. So I think that method is once you get an African American association like you have in Ghana, you have all those things, then you can bring people over. That's why people can come from the diaspora and plug and chug in Ghana now, and there's opportunities. But somebody got to be willing to do it. And black men, let me just say this. I'm gonna be quiet, right? As far as you black men are concerned, look, can I say this, guys? What I'm about to say is a little bit graphic. So, Gabe, I know you're Christian. Close your ears.
Okay, I will.
I gotta say this. We know what you niggas are motivated by. Okay, that's why y'all go to Brazil, and that's why you go to Dominican Republic. I gotta say this. There are no group of women on planet Earth. If there's one reason, Brother Wrench, you know where I'm going with this. There is no group of women in the world that look like this. I mean, you think DC is bootylicious, and you think, listen, if you ever been motivated to be able to have a hot chick and give her $130, $40, $200 a month with this type of ass, you have never seen nothing like this before in your life. I promise you. If you ain't got no motivation to do nothing, Atlanta don't have nothing on this. Trust me when I say that.
Hey, Atlanta ain't got nothing.
Man, listen. Hello, I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, Lagos is popping. As far as club, that's another reason. That's another reason why I love to be in Africa, because I love black women, and Africa is full of them. You know what I mean? You got the best of them, the most beautiful, down to earth, and as soon as they hear your American accent, it's on. So places like Lagos or Accra, like the clubs turn up. The clubs start at around like 11 p.m. and they don't shut down until 8 a.m. Everywhere. That's how it is everywhere, and it's just constant turn up. So it's fun out there too.
And I mean, like, we ain't talking about, let's say, for example, if you make, let's just say something like, thank you, Brother Bill, from Show or Shemaine, no shit. Come on, man, my brother, listen. Thank you, Brother Bill from Pasadena. Thank you so much. Here on the continent, I also want to say this. You can, okay, let's say, for example, if you make $15,000 a month in the United States. That's a lot of money almost anywhere. If you make like $5,000 a month in, let's say you in Nairobi, whatever, Brother Jay Shine, if you make $3,000 a month, which is damn near poverty in America, if you make that, my friend, you are an upper middle class person. Okay. If you happen to make $5,000 a month, you have a driver, you have a chef, you have a maid, you have everything. You can have 3 wives. I mean, this is so we're talking about like the amount of money that you may make in America. You're talking about $100,000 a year. Like, okay, in Uganda, there are 2,500 millionaires in this country. There are 260,000 millionaires in Chicago. Okay. So if you're talking about like the importance of the influence you have by just being a brother that, let's say if you have $80,000 a year in Africa, you are top 2% in almost any country, especially in, Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya, like 100,000. If you make $3,000 or $4,000 a month, you are what is considered wealthy. So when we talk about the level of success that you need, and also let me say this one thing, right? We have a different type of engine in America because we work all the time. We're very competitive. That edge doesn't really exist here. If you're a person that has that edge here, you're going to have that advantage, right? If your motor keeps going. So I just want to let you guys know that the money difference is different. If you have $5,000 here in a month, it's like having $20,000 a month. And that $5,000 a month can be used to do other things here. Like one of the things I see brothers doing all the time is MTN mobile money stand. I know they have MTN mobile money in Nigeria, same here as Uganda. You have other businesses that you can get it into that's local that can help scale other stuff. So just think about that, right? The level of success don't have to be as high as it is in America, even though you want to shoot for that. You don't have to be that high.
I kind of want to circle back as far as what you're saying, O'Shea. So I do agree as far as, if you make like 6-7 grand in Africa, you're considered pretty wealthy, extremely wealthy. But there's levels to it though. So that's like wealthy as far as like common goods, stuff you want to buy. But when you get to like the high level, you want to buy house goods, you want to buy ovens, fridges, things like that. It's all imported. And that all comes from the traders. That all comes from people who do import, export. So in order to live that good life, you can buy certain things like food and, you can go out and enjoy all that stuff. But when it comes to buying hard goods, you're going to pay not only the regular rate, you're going to pay probably twice the American rate. So older electronics in America go for a lot more in Nigeria, for example. You can sell a $25 Walmart, like a microwave in Nigeria for maybe $100. And that's how much it goes for, because everything is imported. So in order to live the good life, you can earn maybe like 5 to 10 grand out there, but when it comes to buying goods and stuff to keep up with the Joneses, everybody's buying American or European goods. Everything is imported. So that goes back to the people who want to start businesses in Africa. There's opportunities because there's certain things that they're not made in Africa. Everything's imported. Somebody has to bring it, and whoever brings it literally has gold in their hands. So depending on what you have, for example, there was a lot of guys that were sending the what's it called, the face masks to Nigeria. These guys are charging $2.50 per mask. And they're sending 10,000 mask quantities at a time, and the hospitals are buying it. The government hospitals are all buying these things. So it depends on what you're selling, but there's opportunities, and you have to be savvy. So unless you're there, if you're not there, you'll never know. And a lot of wealth is being created every single day, and all that wealth is being taken back to China, Europe, and all these Persian countries as well. So there's a lot of opportunities.
Let me just add to that, right? All you brothers have a blue passport. You either have a blue American or some of y'all have a blue British. So if it's import and export, you can always go back and forth because you just where your country is, right? That's another thing too. I noticed just going back and forth and just bringing stuff in. My own personal shit it's so easy to do. I can bring almost anything on. I just pay Qatar or whatever. I ain't talking about selling it. I mean, just for our own personal shit. you have that ability to keep coming back and going back and going back and doing that. And if you got the lick, you know what I'm saying? Like he's saying, oh, he's absolutely right. My computer is valued at an $8,000 computer here because you can't get none of these parts here. So he's definitely right. Go ahead. Anybody want to build on that?
Yeah, I'm just listening in right now on this part.
Yeah, same here. Just listening.
Yeah, niggas over there right now. Yeah, so if I bring 35 microwaves. No. Let me also talk about this, right? So here's what I also want to say. And as far as like a lot of us, we have the mindset that that America is just you know, the end all be all, right? The reason why I know Africa is the truth, right? Because, you know, like we all go to school with Africans in America, all of us. Like if you go to Howard, you go to anywhere, like, you know, especially if you're in the sciences, you know, you're in engineering, you're going to have like 40% Nigerian niggas. And so that's when I started getting the game from them. And I always was wondering, like, you know, sometimes they would be talking about, yeah, man, you know, my dad, you know, he built this big house and all of this stuff. And shout out to Brother Ogle TV. And here's the advantage that Africans who have money in America have over us is that once they figure out the system in America, they automatically start getting the bag in Africa. Like very few of them don't do that. A lot of people do. If you see a Ghanaian or a Nigerian or a Ugandan, like watch those people, right? Like you ain't got to be in America and Africa yourself to go figure it out. Just meet some African friends in America that go back to Africa and then see how they do shit. Just don't say nothing, just watch them. You'll be surprised at how much shit they got going on back there. They got bank accounts back there. They building houses back there. Almost every person does that, right? And as African Americans, we don't have that access because we only know America. We don't have the ability to be able to take our money anywhere and do something else. Think about the money. Let's say if every African American got an African passport when we was born, and we were able to, all right, we got our American money and we able to go do some shit in Africa right away. Who knows how much money Africans truly really have that are doing well, because they ain't telling you about the money they got in Ghana, because they ain't telling you what the money they got in Nigeria. Most Nigerian Americans that are doing well, as much money as you think they have in America, trust me, they got some more money somewhere else. And almost everybody does this. Hispanics do this, you know, Chinese do this, but that's something that we don't have the option to do as African Americans, right? What a lot of Nigerian or Ghanaian or Tanzanian Americans, they're always going back, and they're always taking something with them. They have some knowledge and they're monetizing that in their home country. Jamaicans do it also. Trinidadians do it also. Haitians do it also. But the Africans do it the best. You know, that's why they're sending money home, and somebody building a house. They send them money. Somebody's doing this, doing that. They have businesses. They're operating stores, and they're getting double wealth, right? And that's the situation that African Americans, we don't have access to that. If we don't make it in America, that's it. But these people are making, a lot of times they'll come and work Uber, then they'll quit Uber and go work Amazon, and they'll work all day. They work all days, right? Like Africans be hustling. They work 14-hour days, saving that money up. That money is going back home in 2-3 years. Back home, they're a millionaire now. You be like, well, what happened? You know what I'm saying? And that's a reality. And they understand how to bring in certain stuff, import, export. They know the system. So at some point, we got to understand that we're not able to do that. And the next thing I want to know is, fuck it, how can I do that? That's why I like start talking to African friends. Like shout out to Blackest Night, my brother, right? My big bro. He was able to help a brother that had an African American that had a beauty salon. I think they shipped this brother through the Nigerian post office almost like 5 or 6 pounds of cocoa butter, something like that. And the cocoa butter oil, which he sells to his black female customers, I think it was worth like, he only charged them $150 to send it, but he was able to resell it for like $2,500 in the US market. So we got to also understand now, Africans can help you send shit here that will go for more money here than back there. Like, this is how, we can help each other, right? And we got to understand that a lot of African immigrants, they have a lot more money than what we know, because the money that they're making over on the continent, like, you have people, right, that's on Airbnb. I was in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. You guys remember that I was in Dar es Salaam, and I want to say I was in Dar es Salaam in 2018. When I was in Dar es Salaam in 2018, there was a guy renting an Airbnb, but the nigga was in Chicago. While I'm organized, while he's in Chicago making money, he owns this Airbnb, getting $100 a night from me and paying somebody else like $5 a day or $10 a day to manage it, because he has shit set up in Dar es Salaam. Like, we don't have that opportunity. And his shit kept cooking. There's another brother that his wife is a pharmacist, and they have a home out here in Chawatale. He's a Canadian Ugandan. All right. So once the Ugandan housing development authority started giving these low-end apartments in Chawatale, he bought it, had some money in Canada, was living out here, paid cash for it. That Airbnb is $40 a night, right? He paid 30 grand for the apartment, or 40 grand for the apartment, like 5 years ago. Every day is sold out now, except for right now. So he got the Canadian shit still popping off, and he got this. So we don't have access to that kind of stuff. So we got to be like, well, damn, I don't have access to it. It behooves me to find out how I can get. So if you don't go to Africa, find out somebody who is in America, especially if you're in the Atlanta area, and see what should they do. And a lot of people will tell you 25 pounds of shea butter. How much did it go for Blackest Night? How much did that go for? Go ahead and comment that. So I would say, even if you're in America, find out people that go to Africa and what do they do. You'd be surprised what they'll tell you. Anybody want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, I think that's those type of opportunities are super dope. And I don't mean to kind of derail the conversation, but I do think that there are other opportunities even here. Like, I don't know if you guys have heard of kind of like the FANG organization game. So FANG's like Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and Google, like those type of organizations. And pretty much what they're compensating their software engineers, like people who so example, and I'll get to the point really quickly because I don't want to, again, derail it, is that it was a dude, a white guy, who went through a coding boot camp. I think it's like 4 to 5 month coding boot camp. He was able to study so they do a coding exam to get into a lot of these type of these FANG organizations. And then if they get hired on, a lot of times they come in as like a L3 or a L4. I mean, with starting total compensations at anywhere between like $250 to $300 and $350,000. I mean, and I'm not saying that that's something that is amazing, because but it's a hustle that a lot of like Asian Americans or Asians come over here and do, or like white people come over here and do. And I'm not saying it's anything wrong with investing in Africa, but this is just something that a lot of Black people aren't on, right? They don't get into software. They don't get into a lot of these opportunities over here that can yield them upwardly, I mean, almost coming to the $500,000 that you can make in America. I'm like, if there's a $500,000 that is waiting here in America that you can possibly get, because what they do is that they play the stock game. They pay the equity game, because and I have this a part of my compensation package also. You can negotiate RSUs. You can negotiate restricted stock units as a part of your compensation package. So as an organization does well, like a Google or Amazon, as they do well, especially Amazon, your total compensation goes up, where people are pretty much getting refreshes of stock, where they are able to walk away. Like, it's a guy, his name is, I think, the tech lead. He's literally a millionaire just off RSUs. He's living off of interest of his Google and Facebook stock. And it's like, that's right here. We should do a show on that tomorrow if you got time. I'm interested in that. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Y'all like to flush it out too, because I'm kind of learning about it, because my compensation structure is similar, but it's not the same as these Fortune 500, well, like these tech company compensation structures. So yeah, like tomorrow might be a little difficult, because
just tell me whenever you're ready.
Absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, so I guess the reason why I bring that up is just to say that it's things that brothers and people can do right here
Right.
that people from other countries are coming over and taking advantage of.
Yep.
Rather than
Yep.
saying, "Okay, I'm about to run." Like I don't want to say run away, but I'm going to go over somewhere
I
else
totally agree.
and not
I
take
totally
advantage.
agree.
That's
I
the only
totally
person.
agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
I totally agree. He is definitely right. Let me just say this. Shout out to wait a minute. We can go to Emile. What's the name? The brother right here. Engaging Black. Great work. Thank. No, and I'm gonna tell you what you brothers are gonna do, right? I am gonna open up before we end this thing. I got my Facebook group. We're gonna open it up tomorrow.
Okay.
But what you niggas gonna do? Y'all gonna drop some money in the super chat for all this game tonight. Yes. All you niggas that haven't donated, I need at least $2 from you niggas tonight. Cause y'all gonna pay black men for bringing this game to y'all all this week and these talented brothers. So y'all gonna have to drop some on the donations. I'm not playing with you niggas tonight. Y'all need to go ahead on and pay out. If you haven't put $1 in there, do something and like the video because you gotta start appreciating this type of stuff. I hate to charge you niggas. But I'm not doing a Facebook group for free if you niggas don't start supporting this Hall of Game. Cause y'all niggas supporting all the rest of the fuckery I got going on. You niggas gonna start giving money to this, right? Cause y'all, I'm gonna tell you why. It's not that I need it, but you niggas need to support stuff like this. Cause you have brothers on here late at night that's talking about some serious shit, and we do this every night. So y'all gonna have to start supporting this shit. Thank you for your $2. All of you niggas. Cause I want to hear, man, black men don't got no solutions. And you niggas is solution ain't support, ain't like to be, ain't did nothing. Y'all niggas know what. BB, stop saying the N-word, please. Yo, broke ass ain't gave $1. Shut up. Say what I want to say. So you brothers support the show. What you brothers want to say about that? Thank you, brother O'Shea Linus for the super chat. Go ahead. Anything else you brothers want to say?
Yeah, one more thing I just wanted to say before we all take off here. As a black man in America doing business, you have to be very careful. And the difference between doing business in Africa and America is all of the frivolous lawsuits, whether it's an employee or a woman who accuses you of something, or the IRS who decides they want to press on you for any particular reason. That kind of thing cannot happen in Africa. There are no frivolous lawsuits from women. There are no IRS bureaus that are going to come take your business like they would do here. I'd say it's a lot more conducive place for long-term safety. So in the future, it might be something for everybody to consider.
All right. Brother Tony, brother Mike, brother Carlos. Never heard a thing, but definitely want to learn more about good gaming out in Africa. Brother Roscoe. Yeah, and let me say this real quick, man. We need more brothers that have more information. Like Brother Black is nice. I've been meaning to do that. He was able to send this brother 25 pounds of cocoa butter that cost $75 a ship, and I think the profit on that was like $2,000, right? So there are opportunities that we're going to keep bringing on over here. Any other things you brothers want to say?
No, not me personally, man. I learned a lot, and it was a good stream, and appreciate you as always.
All right.
Yeah, nothing else from me. I just think that brothers, let's not be average over here and try to go over to Africa and be a superstar. I mean, be great.
I know what you're saying is right.
Yeah,
what you're saying
absolutely.
is
That's
right.
my only thing. But that's it for me. Yep.
All right. Brother Asani.
Honestly, I've been sitting here soaking up the game the whole entire time. My my office space got invaded by the babies, so I've been trying to keep them quiet during the trying to keep them quiet this whole time. But at the same time, they've been kind of listening in. I'm listening in, and if I can find a financial incentive to get out there and invest in Africa, I'll definitely take the opportunity to do so.
Right. And let me just say this, right? It starts with conversations like this. We have to be able to open up ourselves as black men, not only to the African Americans or talented, right? But we need to be able to open up ourselves to legitimate guys like Brother Oga TV that are currently in Africa. And I think that this podcast and other podcasts like it can connect us and give us more information to people all around the world. It just takes time. That's why I'm here every night. I'm here every night. Y'all know I love the Brother Pill, right? But I try to be here every night because I know that this is something that's a little bit more practical. And I know that we can get more brothers involved. Like we have Brother Oga TV. I believe he's under 30. You have brothers like Brother Gabe. He's almost under 30. We have brother Mike Tech Global, who's 28. So brother Emile is a young man. So we have guys that are, young guys like that, are older guys, right? You have guys that have MBAs that come on the show. You have guys. So we have guys from all over the spectrum, and we're trying to connect all of these black men in the space. So I think if we do that, also one of the things is the investment authorities. If we get our podcast game coming, a lot of investment authorities of certain countries will want to come on and talk, even on individual YouTube shows, right? Because that's something that's not going on right now. So you might be able to get a Tanzanian authority or other people that understand this and it. If you have the platform for that, we can do it. Like brother Gabe, he had a show with somebody from, I believe it was from Iran, Israeli, right? So if you create the lanes for these kind of conversations, things can grow, right? And we're in an age where, podcasts and digital content is there. Thank you, Brother Dayhan and Brother Eddie Casey. Nigerian Builder News. I've seen you around before. So let me do this real quick. Here's my group, right? I want to talk about this. I'm going to have to speak to y'all niggas. This is just let you niggas know. Because Brother Tony and Brother Carlos was in the group. Our last group that we had got shut down, all right? Now, the group that we had was so hilarious. It was fun. But unfortunately, we had too many violations, so Facebook shut it down. I am going to open the group tomorrow, but you have to request to get in now, right? So at some point tomorrow, we'll be opening it back up because it's hard to create a Facebook group now. So initially, I'll let the guys from the Patreon come in. It would be nice if brothers supported me on Patreon, but like I said, look, I was mad at the time. I know brothers is, it's coronavirus and all that. So, I will let brothers into the group eventually, but click to join that link, and we'll get the show on the road. We have to make the group rules this time because, again, we got 3,000 people in the group, and it's hard to get 3,000 people in the group on Facebook now. It is very hard to do that. It's not running a Facebook group is very difficult. So, because it's 24 hours, people post for 24 hours. Come in, invite people. It's fun. It's funny. People have been asking me about it. I'm opening it up tomorrow. Thank you, Brother Real, Brother Ernest Turner. So hopefully we can have more global black conversations like this with brothers from, across the diaspora. But we'll have a good topic tomorrow. I'm surprised we got 243 on a late night show tonight. But
I didn't even notice.
yeah, we had as much as 260 people tonight watching the show at one point. So not bad. Any last words from you guys?
Nothing from me.
All right. So I'll be here tomorrow. Press 1 if you're able to click on my link for the Facebook group. Let me see who's trying to get in. Okay, we have now 34 requests. All right. So Brother Gabe, I see Brother Gabe here. Okay, thank you. So guys, keep requesting it. Join in. Like I said, anybody been on my last group, it's hella fun. I think Ramil was in there. But
one dude put me on a live and was
that joint was lit. That joint was lit.
Did you see him roast me? It was funny. And then he was like, "Oh, whoa, hold up. Is this brother a pastor? Let me go ahead and get up." He's in there clowning.
So y'all don't shut my shit down, man. Look, I was mad the other day, but y'all niggas don't get it shut down, man. Don't shut down the Carter. We just trying to have some fun in there, man. Y'all niggas scared away the women. Y'all was trying to roast the girls all the time. Come on, man. Y'all niggas can stop, man. Let the girls post their pictures and shit, and y'all niggas keep it pushing. So, again, subscribe to the link. Check out my latest thing. Go ahead and subscribe to Ramil Amir on YouTube. You guys see that's his channel. Posted in the channel, right? And then also don't forget to support Coach Ali, right? Coach Ali is a burgeoning YouTuber, and he trying to encourage you niggas to stop fucking up. So it's gonna be hard because y'all niggas don't want to do the right thing. We know how black men are. But and thank you again, Brother KC. Hopefully you can come back on, man, because you have a lot of knowledge. He's a young entrepreneur, so
appreciate it, brother.
the first time we was able to get him on, but he's actually very, very. We've done shows before, So, brother Casey, when you coming back, brother?
Yeah, I appreciate you, brothers. You know, I always watch your show, Shay. You're like I watch you every day. You know, I appreciate everybody that comes on here.
All right, and shout out to the other brothers, right? Mike Check Global, Antoine Wade, Dr. Kenyon Meadows, brother Maurice November, Andre Hatchett. Stop saying the N word. It's so off-putting. This is what I want you to do. Get the fuck off my channel. God is still working with me. Thank you, K Tablet. All right. So, God ain't through with me yet. So, you just deal with it. And if you don't like it, start your own damn show. So, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate all you brothers for coming on. Like I said, one last thing. We do need to pick each other's brains because the brother Oga TV was talking about things that a lot of us didn't know existed.
Oh yeah,
and that's what the show is about, is knowledge, right? It's about knowledge. It's about the Hall of Game. The game is knowledge. So we here to bring the game to the African American men through other brothers, brothers that live and that are black, that understand our experience. Nigerian American brothers definitely understand our experience to a great degree. So, thank you, brother, for coming on. And we were looking to work with any talented black men. I don't care where you're from. Come on and help us, build the content up. If you have certain things that you're doing, let us all keep working together because everybody is getting some level of edification from the knowledge. I know I am. Any last words, guys?
Yeah, just for everybody to think about, 45 of the 54 African countries still import toothpicks.
Whoa!
Wow.
So consider that.
Oh, you know what's so funny? Wait, before we go. I was in Kenya in 2018. And I was there hanging out with Wodi Maya and Dr. Mumi. And I was there for a few days. At the time, Wodi Maya had 72,000 subscribers. So I've hung out with Wodi Maya several times in Africa. So it's not like, that was the only time, right? We whenever I go to Kenya, he's there for some reason. He date Miss Trudy. There was a lady that he interviewed at a Chinese restaurant, and shout out to the African Traveler channel, which is John from Nairobi. The African Traveler has a really good corporate job, and he knew this lady who, astonishingly enough, was married to a Ugandan. You never really see Chinese women married to Africans in Africa, but what happened is her company is an import-export company, and it made and that company had a real big deal with a company called Carrefour. Now, I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of Carrefour. Carrefour is the French version of what is Tesco or Walmart. So they now have a Carrefour. The first Carrefour that I've ever seen was obviously in Poland. But you see Carrefour and Tesco all throughout the United Kingdom. Shout out to the brothers out there in the UK. You guys know a lot about, obviously Tesco because it's British, and Carrefour. So she was able to get her product not only through Carrefour. Another big part of her business is importing things from China to the Chinese communities that live in Kenya and Uganda. And this lady's daughter, the international school that she went to was $35,000 a year. So this was in 2018. The daughter has now graduated and is in Emory University in Atlanta. $35,000 a year is more than my medical school tuition is in Poland. Okay, so through import and export, through one that's being serviced through Carrefour as distributed, and then other products coming directly from China to the Chinese community. This lady is rich, and in Africa they got offices in Uganda and China. So when he's talking about import export, like he not lying, right? I mean, there's people that do that and they make thousands upon thousands of dollars a year doing this. So just keep that in mind, man. People are leaving Beijing and China for a reason. People are leaving Europe. I mean, if you come here, you see a lot of white folks in Kenya. You will see a lot of white folks, right? White people typically don't come to Africa because they like black people so much. They're here. They're here because they have a great opportunity. You go to Kenya, that city has a lot of different races there. And why are they there? They're not there for their health. They're there because it's something they can do there. So they have information that we don't have, and they use it to their advantage. So, guys, thank you for coming on. Thank you, Brother Ali, Brother Gabe, Brother Emile, Ola TV. I'm out. Peace.
Peace out.